Oh, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Jaxon and Daddy Read. Today on Jaxon and Daddy Read, we're reading AA Milne, When We Were Very Young.
Yes.
This is Jaxon starting off with some new books. Some things that don't have pictures in them, right, Jaxon?
Uh-huh.
And what are we reading out of this book today? It's a poem called Jonathan Joe.
Jonathan Joe.
So here we're going to read you Jonathan Joe. Jonathan Joe has a mouth like an O, and a wheelbarrow full of surprises. If you ask for a bat or something like that, he's got it whatever the size is. If you're wanting a ball, it's no trouble at all. Why, the more that you ask for, the merrier. Like a hoop and a top and a watch that won't stop and some sweets and an Aberdeen Terrier. Jonathan Joe has a mouth like an O, but this is what makes him so funny. If you give him a smile only once in a while, then he never expects any money.
Yep, but...
Why is that a good story, Jaxon?
Wait.
No, stop it.
I gotta make it big.
No, lie down. Jaxon, you can't focus on the camera.
Hold on.
We're filming TV. No.
Hold on.
Jaxon, I'm gonna turn it off. Lie down. There are lions and roaring tigers and enormous camels and things. There are buffalo, bisons, and great big bears with wings. There's a sort of tiny potamus and a tiny rhinoceros too. But I gave buns to the elephant when I went down to the zoo. There are badgers and bidgers and bodgers and a superintendent's house. There are masses of goats in a polar and different kinds of mouse.
Pool bears?
And I think there's a sort of something which is called a wallaboo. But I gave buns to the elephant when I went down to the zoo. If you try to talk to the bison, he never quite understands. You can't shake hands with a Mingo. He doesn't like shaking hands, and lions and roaring tigers hate saying, "How do you do?" But I give the elephant when I go down to the zoo. But I give buns to the elephant when I go down to the zoo. What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's crying with all her might and main, and she won't eat her dinner rice pudding again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? I've promised her dolls and a daisy chain, and a book about animals, all in vain. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's perfectly well and she hasn't any pain. But look at her now, she's beginning again. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? I promised her sweets and a ride in the train. And I begged her to stop for a bit and explain. What is the matter with Mary Jane? What is the matter with Mary Jane? She's perfectly well and she hasn't a pain. And it's lovely rice pudding for dinner again. What is the matter with Mary Jane?
That story.
Did you like that story?
Yep.
Has anybody seen my mouse? I opened his box for half a minute, just to make sure he was really in it. And while I was looking, he jumped outside. I tried to catch him. I tried. I think he's somewhere about the house. Has anyone seen my mouse? Uncle John, have you seen my mouse? He's just a small sort of mouse. Oh, dear little brown one. He came from the country. He wasn't a town one. So he'll feel all lonely in London Street. Why, what could he possibly find to eat? He must be somewhere. I'll ask Aunt Rose. Have you seen a mouse with a woefully nose? Oh, somewhere about. He's just got out. Hasn't anyone seen my mouse? You want to do one more?
Yeah.
Okay. One more, and then we're done, okay?
Okay.
The king asked the queen, and the queen asked the dairymaid, "Could we have some butter for the royal slice of bread?" The queen asked the dairymaid said, "Certainly, I'll go and tell the cow now before he goes to bed." The dairymaid curtsied and went and told the Alderney, "Don't forget the butter for the royal slice of bread." The Alderney said sleepily, "You'd better tell Her Majesty that many people nowadays like marmalade instead." The dairymaid said, "Fancy!" and went to Her Majesty. She curtsied to the queen, and she turned a little red. "Excuse me, Your Majesty, for taking the liberty, but marmalade is tasty if it's very thickly spread." The queen said, "Oh," and went to His Majesty, taking of the butter for the royal slice of bread. Many people think that marmalade is nicer. Would you like to try a little marmalade instead? The king said, "Bother!" And then he said, "Oh, dear me." The king sobbed, "Oh, dearie me," and went back to bed. "Nobody," he whimpered, "could call me a fussy man. I only want a little bit of butter for my bread." The queen said, "There, there," and went to the dairymaid, and the dairymaid said, "There, there," and went to the shed. The cow said, "There, there, I didn't really mean it. Here's milk for his porringer, and butter for his bread." The queen took the butter, and brought it to Her Majesty. The king said, "Butter, eh?" and bounced out of the bed. "Nobody," he said, as he kissed her tenderly. "Nobody," he said, as he slid down the banisters, "nobody, my darling, could call me a fussy man. But I do like a little bit of butter for my bread." The end. Well, Jackson, that was our story time with Jackson and Daddy. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.